Let's use a photocell to turn an LED on when the lights are low and off when the lights are high. So in this example here, we've got a bright light and the LED is off. If I put my hand over the photocell, we can turn the light on and off. Now let's do it with less bright light. So it's on. Now we adjust the potentiometer. And again, it's off now. And I can make it go on or off. So how are we going to do this? Well, first, we notice that the photocell's resistance will change the level of brightness. So let's just take some readings. We want dull light. This is dull light. And the resistance is, let's call it 9 kilo ohms. When it's dark, I'll put my hands over it, the resistance is quite high. Let's call it 640 kilo ohms. And when it's bright, let's turn the light on here. The resistance is about 1.5 kilo ohms. So when it's dark, the photocell is at high resistance. When it's bright, it's at low resistance. So we need to come up with some kind of circuit. We want to switch the LED on when the resistance exceeds a certain value. So let's take what should we do? Take an arbitrary value of 20k, for example. Now we've got our photocell here. I'm going to feed it into transistor, which will act as a switch. I'm going to have a resistor here. We'll worry about this section a little bit later. This will go to positive voltage of 3 volts, and this goes to the ground. So then the question is, let's assume that the transistor will go on at 0.7 volts, and we know that this will be 20k, for example. So let's do a little bit of maths. What value do we need R to be so that the voltage across the photocell is 0.7 volts? Well, the current going from here to here is given by I equals V divided by the total resistance, which is R plus 20. I'll omit the K sign, I'll just put 20. So we need I times R, which is 20k, to be equal to 0.7 volts, which is that figure there. In other words, 3 times 20 over R plus 20 equals 0.7 volts. Let's rearrange this equation. 3 times 20 is 60. Bring this over there and we get 0.7 R plus 0.7 times 20, and that is equal to 14. So the value of R should be 60 minus 14 divided by 0.7, and that comes out to 66k. So we want to vary this resistor here, just do it like that, and what I actually did is I chose a 50k variable resistor. You could be safer and use 100k, but I found that 50k was perfectly fine. So let's sketch out our circuit then in a bit more detail. We have 3 volts. I like to put in something like a 100 ohm resistor to stop too much current flowing through the circuit. Then we have a variable resistor which is 50k. Perhaps I should do that. I'm going to split the circuit out, put our photocell. This goes to ground. So we've got a voltage divider here, and we're going to send it to a transistor. So the transistor will be on at 0.7 volts and off below that. So this goes to ground, and we want 3 volts here, and we'll just have an LED going from here. So typically something like 330 ohms, and our light LED like that, and that's our circuit. Now of course we've made some simplifications that we're assuming that the thing turns on at 0.7 volts. It won't, it won't go strictly on or strictly off. There'll be a transition period, but it's a simplifying assumption we've made, and we've got to make some simplifications.